everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for Meet Music Knoxville. It happens the last Friday of every month. Right now, we're pre-recording, believe it or not.
We're live recording, but...
Well, we're live recording, but we're pre-recording.
Yeah, don't lie to these folks.
Okay, so we are live right now, but what you're experiencing is in a world that we've never conceived, you know.
Hopefully it'll be there.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be there. But anyway, Meet Music Knoxville. It's where your host, Nick Horner, gets in the studio with people that he's never met before here in Knoxville. I am new to Knoxville. I moved here about 8 months ago. It gets really gray and fuzzy in pandemic time. And this is in conjunction with Make Music Knoxville, which is a festival that theoretically, by the point the show comes out, would have already happened on June 21st. Travis is learning new things. Chris should hopefully know this already. Before we go on, I need to say some thank yous on behalf of Real Knoxville Music, Raven Records, Union Place, Hutch and Howard, School of Rock Knoxville, and Energy Home Solutions are all so vital to making programming happen here at Real Knoxville Music. So we just need to give them a huge thank you for their support. And I'm assuming you're thanking them at home, folks. And then without further ado, I'm so excited to have Travis Bigwood here. Travis is this gentleman has come up in so many conversations since I've been here in Knoxville. I was trying to peg them, you know, and so I had the banter for the radio. Can't really remember them for now, but maybe they'll pop up throughout the course of this conversation. Anyway, Travis, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, you know?
Yeah.
I thought when you were like, I'm new to Knoxville, I've been here for 8 years. I thought that's what you were about to say.
I'm much greener than that.
Yeah, you're very fresh.
Yeah. But I'm loving it, man. Are you from Knoxville originally?
Yeah, I'm from Corrington. Yeah, you'll discover it sooner or later. You got to get like 14 months in, and you'll figure it out.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Good to know. That's just around the river bend. Well, cool. So from Corrington, how far from Knoxville is that?
From here, where we're at, it's not too far. But from downtown Knoxville, what'd you just give me that hand signal for? Oh, I thought I got a hand signal that was like, I thought I was like, don't talk about where we are right now. Yeah. Like, this is a disclosed location or not a non-disclosed location.
Yeah.
I grew up in Halls, which is about 20 minutes north of downtown. It's near Fountain City, that kind of stuff. And, we got that long road that likes to follow you through this town, Emory Road. I pretty much grew up on that. That was the street I ran. And, nothing ever compelled me to leave. Manifest Destiny seems to be a full circle too. You hear all these folks in California heading back east. So I think we picked a good place to settle, and glad to have you.
Yeah.
It's always good to have more folks around.
Thank you.
Not too many though. How many did you bring with you?
Oh, I only brought one.
Oh,
but she's from Tennessee.
Understood.
So it's like we're not changing any figures around too much. Yeah, it's funny you say that. I moved from New York, so the other California, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so, man, I checked out your music, some great harmony singing. I mean, by the way, when I say check out, when I do these shows, I was looking back to Chris as if like Chris is like, yeah, I'm following along, man. When I do these shows, I try to, it's not know as little as possible. I just want this to be like, I'm really enamored by that experience when you meet a musician at a party or a jam or whatever, and you just sort of like, oh yeah, and you like try to find that common ground.
Oh yeah, I intentionally didn't say more than 10 words to you as we were setting all this up.
I love that, yeah. And I loved that.
You kept trying to talk to me, and I was like, this guy, he's ruining what we're about to do.
There's magic here. There's magic to be made. But yeah, but I have heard some great harmony singing. And I know you have the Lonesome Doves, right? Is the name of your band?
You got it. Yeah, a lot of proper nouns around here with the word lonesome and doves in them, in some combination. But I got my own. They're not here today, by myself.
Yeah.
But yes, we harmony is the most important thing in music for me, and I'm always attracted to bands who perfect it in a live setting. Mm-hmm. So you can hear guitar solos all night, and you're like, oh, here's the guitar solo again. But every time someone sings a harmony, to me it feels unique and fresh, and they've always pulled me in. Even if it's a loud rock and roll band, you know, the drummer singing a harmony underneath or above the main singer, he's not even trying to be flashy, but to me it's always the most beautiful thing. And so whenever I put together this outfit, it wasn't, you know, find a drummer, find a bass, but it was find 3 people that can sing. And because if the harmonies aren't there, then my vision isn't, even a fraction of it isn't there. So
yeah. Well, and to me, well, first of all, I love that. I think we see eye to eye on that. Look at that, finding that common ground.
He's good. Where'd you find this guy? You know?
What did the cat drag in? To my mind, it brings in this idea of scaling. You know, it's like when you have music, it's about this ebb and flow thing that happens. And, you know, sure, that can happen with a rock band, that can happen with an orchestra, but like it works really well with 3-part, you know, it's like can just be one person and harmony. And with that alone, you can really take people on a journey, you know, the different variations that you can do with that. You guys sound great, by the way.
Thank you.
I don't know I said that the first time, but I enjoyed what I heard.
Heck yeah. Well, I'm glad. I mean, we hope that what exists out there is an accurate representation of what we do. And we live in an interesting time. I mean, you know, music used to be a momentary thing. And of course, that's why there's still the drive. And we've even seen it through the COVID times. You know, folks are excited to go see live music again. There's only so many moments now that only exist in that moment. I mean, even the one we're making right now, people can listen to this a million times if they want. You know, and
they will.
But we're doing this right now, and it feels fresh, right? So whenever we started getting together too and writing these songs, working up arrangements, I love arranging songs. So you know, we've got covers of classic songs and everything that we've shot videos for. The point is that, you know, we make something that we're proud of that can exist forever, and I think that's the point of any recording or record, right? But the harmonies are always there. The instrumentation might be different. And I think that's what a good recording is. I want people that whenever they come see us live, they can go home and kind of relive it in a sense. But to me, none of that stuff is permanent. You know, I'm the best artists, you know, you go see them live and, you know, it's those small changes. It's those small nuances that get you to come back again. And so we always try to keep things fresh. But I think with the harmonies, you know, if they're there, the story's there. Because anything I say, I don't believe that it's only me that's ever said it. I believe it's a group of people. So if I'm the only one saying it, the message doesn't get across. I need 3 people to say it so you understand that it's a chant. It's not just a singularity, you know, voice screaming out of the masses. So I always try, especially when we write our own songs. I guess I write them, but you know, whenever I'm writing those songs, you know, I'm never trying to say something I think I wouldn't hope to stand up or somebody stand up and say for me.
Wow.
Well, we're doing this. We're not even 10 minutes in.
I know. We're digging deep. Well, let me ask you this. So where, you know, obviously the acoustic thing, where did this come from for you? What were like the first, the question I love to ask people was, what was your first CD as a kid? Wait, Travis, how old are you?
I'm 28.
Good. Okay, so we're in that same thing. You know, much younger than you. It's like the CD questions gets a little fuzzy. But what was the first CD you had as a kid?
If you ask me the first CD that I spent money on,
well, no, both.
Okay.
I want both.
Well,
we have the time. You know, we have a whole hour. Here.
The first CD I ever spent money on was that Good Charlotte record. Lifestyles of the Rich and the Famous, classic. You know. I remember I had a Grammy nominated album whenever they used to do that. Right now it's just a Spotify playlist, but they used to be like, hey, here's the Grammy nods for this year. And they'd release it like a few months before the winners were announced. Mambo No. 5, first track, you know, terrible influences is what I'm giving you right now. But to me, I always ventured out for things, but I learned pretty early on that the things that were around me were worth investing time into. So I grew up listening to Elvis and Buddy Holly and all that stuff. My dad did Elvis impersonations. That's like one of my favorite things to say. I say it pretty much every time we play. And again, it's not something I'm ashamed of, you know, and my joke on stage always was my dad spent more money on jumpsuits than he did my education. So,
in a way, which was your education.
There you go. Hey,
Yeah.
don't pull back the curtain too far. Okay. We grew up with just those, my brother and myself, we grew up with the, summer hits of the 70s, big compilations, those types of songs where, when we stayed up too late at night, we didn't have YouTube. So it would be those, those commercials where it's like, Islands in the Stream and a list of 20 songs, and Islands in the Stream is highlighted in yellow. And it's, those were the CDs we listened to. And I had every Elvis song recorded in the 50s, and I knew everything about them. And so I got attached to that stuff. And of course, whether you call it being rebellious or not, I pretty much just listened to those bands all the way through high school. Buddy Holly, Elvis, Waylon, got into like the classic country stuff too. And in about junior or senior year, I had someone burn me the first, 3 Kings of Leon records and the first 4 Strokes records. And it was all on one CD,
The magic of
data
technology.
storage. Yeah. And I just never felt compelled to invest in modern music. Anytime I had before, it didn't sustain me like digging into the classics, so to speak. And that music did pull me, and of course it got me to realize that there were folks that were still doing things that weren't on the radio, right? I mean, it's like that moment when you see an actor die in a movie and you're young, and then you see him in another and you're like, I thought that guy was dead. It's like you realize that it's a bigger world and there's more stuff that's going on than just the stuff that's down the main highway. Mm-hmm. And I think when you divert from that main highway, even if it's your highway that you made yourself, that's when you find the coolest things. And you bring light to those things. So, there's a lot of bands out there that are doing it. And the reality of music and where it is right now is if you love something, there's someone else doing it. And it's just, you got to find it. And the other side of that is they want you to find them. Mm-hmm. My favorite shows I've ever played is me just telling stories in a living room with 20 other people. I mean, I'm sure it's fun to play in front of 30,000 people. But the most fun, personally, I've ever had is when I actually get to feel like someone's listening to the words,
Amen. So. Beautiful. It's funny. It's like I was totally following that, and I'm totally into it. But I just can't help but I have to ask this because it hit earlier. The Good Charlotte. You know what I mean? Like, do you find traces of Good Charlotte? Do you find traces of Mambo number? Like
hell no.
You don't see any connection. No. This is, and it'll be so interesting to, at we're meeting. It'll be interesting to watch your journey. If sometime, years from now, you're like, oh man, I'm realizing that I really liked Good Charlotte, and this is what I liked about it.
I love it. It just doesn't surface in what we make.
Okay.
I mean. Comcast around here, you had, on demand. And I remember my brother wanted to learn how to play guitar way before I ever knew how to play guitar. And American Idiot, music video was on demand. Played it for like a straight hour, and he was trying to learn all the chords. And I love that music. I mean, I listen to it. And I think it's, beautiful. One of my favorite guilty pleasure bands is Blue October. Mm-hmm. I think that band is on another level. I even went to that lead singer. He had a book that he released, and he did like a book tour. Went to it. I'm obsessed. I love it. Yeah. But to me, it just, that type of sound, I probably do pull from it in a way, but right. It's never, I don't think if you saw my show or our show, what we've put together, you would go, that guy listens to Blue October.
but the sort of what I was inching toward with that is that, you ever have those moments where you're like, and I do it too. I'm a songwriter. It's like, holy shit. That was like, one of the things for me, I think I talked about it on Tim Woody's show, was that I realized that I really like this like cadence, which is the flat 7 thing, and I got that from, I think initially it was probably maybe like the Tall Bachman, She's So High, which I loved when I was in 7th grade. It was just like, I mean, just like changed my world. And I don't think of myself as a Tall Bachman, this guy had like one song and the rest of the songs on his album were shit. I mean, let's get real, it's like.
Let's get real. Now we're getting real.
Yeah, now we're real.
Modern one-hit wonders. Yeah. Here we go.
Here we go. No, I mean, like, they weren't bad. They were just, they didn't have that same thing. But I just loved that so much that it like really imprinted on me. And it's like every now and then you find like little like germs of that, and it'll just be funny. I can't wait to talk. I think that there will be a moment where you're gonna be like, oh, dude, I did it. I had the Good Charlotte moment. Or something. I don't know.
Oh, well, I mean,
I'm BSing here.
No, you're right. I mean, there are moments when we're playing stuff, and I might be thinking Elvis or this or that, and then it's oh, that's not what Elvis would have done. That is what modern day rock and roll band would have done, or anything like that. Because the bands that are working today that I love are like Dawes out of California and Dr. Dog. I think Dr. Dog is one of the best bands you can see live. And again, Dr. Dog is one of those groups that just pulls from the Beatles in every way possible, down to even how they mix percussion,
Right.
And a real musician, what they do is, you're going to have those folks that walk up to you and be like, oh, you're doing this, but I'm not singing, I'm not like writing Elvis songs.
Right.
Hopefully at the end of the day I made something that's Travis Bigwood, and that Travis Bigwood's first CD that he bought was Good Charlotte.
Man, okay, so you obviously play the guitar, you're playing the piano in here. Are you other instruments? Like what else are you working with in your bag of tricks?
Well, I've been lucky, songwriting has always been something I've been interested in, but the bulk of the music scene that got me into it around here was playing for other folks. I played bass for a lot of groups in town, and played drums for people, and so pretty much the basic kind of core band instruments I can do. But the ones I've always found the most fun, if I'm not singing, I love playing bass. I think bass just is a make or break for me, and I haven't gotten really paid to play the other ones, so I'd say probably bass and acoustic are probably my go-tos.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. And you have your Martin here today. Are you like mostly do you have like that as your writing guitar, or what's your
I've never been a guitar hoarder. So
cool.
I don't have a lot of guitars.
I love that, by the way. Respect.
I'm all about being consolidated and concise, and so I have two acoustics. I have my Taylor, which is the Taylor I bought the day I moved to go to college. I went to MTSU to study audio engineering.
Cool.
And I bought it in the Guitar Center parking lot for $250. To this day, I think it goes on par with the Martin. And it might have that nostalgia factor, but I've never plugged it into any like board or stage and it not just sound amazing.
And that's what's amazing. That's what I love about the Taylors.
Oh,
like
incredible.
they're just the best instruments when you put a cable in them. Like
we've ran it through guitar amps, everything under the sun, and I've never been like, this is a terrible combination. I'm like, sometimes I'm like, why'd I bring my Martin? Someone go get me that that cheap Taylor right now. But yeah, I love that guitar, and I've probably written most of the songs on that Taylor, but it's when that thing sounds right. I mean, you can't beat it,
Mm-hmm.
So it's a beautiful thing to have.
Yeah, cool. And when you do you write at the piano at all, or are you just
I
having fun?
don't know how to play piano.
Oh, you're just
doodling
and doodling. Well, it sounded good.
Well,
I think you're well on your way to calling yourself a piano player.
Yeah, I think I know somebody who'd like give one away for free, probably.
Yeah.
So.
Check out Craigslist. I'm sure that you'll get one.
Oh, definitely.
It might have like dead rats or something inside it, but they're out there.
My first upright had a dead rat in it. Yeah.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I bought an upright bass.
Upright bass. I thought you were saying upright piano.
Oh, no. I used to play bluegrass music and stuff, and had to have a upright bass. Learned how to fit it in the Honda Civic and everything. It was a miracle. And the biggest thing about someone wanting you to play upright is you got to go get one, and they're expensive instruments. So, scrounging the list, the marketplaces, and found one, and I thought it was awesome. Said it was from 1946, and went and looked at it. Had weed eater line on it, because that's the thing. Whenever bass strings would break, you could put weed eater line on them. The bridge was, all warped to hell.
Was it a K? I feel like it's like...
It was a German bass, but it didn't have any branding on it, which is one of the things that made it hard to resell it, honestly. Oh. But what was wild about it is I looked at it and I haggled this guy because I was like, I can't even take this home and play it right now. And And he was like, well, I'm the second owner, and I promise it is what it is. And if I was like, well, what do you mean you're the second owner? Oh, well, I bought this bass. It was given to me from this lady. I can't remember her name. It's been like 7 years. But long story short, I ended up buying the bass, take it home, have buyer's remorse because, I had to drop like $1,500, and end up calling this lady who supposedly was the original owner. And I call her, and sweet lady, gosh, I wish I could remember her name. I say, hey, I just bought a bass off of Tim, whatever, Oh, yeah, I gave it to him a couple of months ago. Well, I just wanted to know the story behind the bass. He said you were the original owner. Oh, yeah, my sister and I moved down here. I think they moved from like Massachusetts, and they had a residency at Dollywood in a polka band. And her sister played polka music at Dollywood, and then her sister passed away, so she just was kind of like getting rid of stuff. And she was like, yeah, you're the third owner. And so I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. I know the story behind it. Ended up taking it to Will Height Strings, and some lady there in an apron knocked on it and was like, oh yeah, this is like a 40s or 50s. It was one of those things where I like brought it in, and I was still like, oh, I got gypped somehow on this. I know I did. And I was like, hey, people at Will Heights, and they make really fine fiddles and all kinds of stuff out there. Very like professionalism to the core, but they have $5,000 fiddles in their showcase. So I take it out there, pull the bass out, and there's their like master craftsman in the little workshop, and she's got an apron on, and she wheels up to it, and she's like, tell me about this. And I was like, no. You tell me what it is first. I'm not telling you anything I know first. And she seriously just starts knocking on it and like looking around, and she's like, I think this is a German-made bass, anywhere from like late 40s to early 50s. And I was like, that's what I wanted to hear. That's what I needed. Because I needed to know that this guy wasn't fooling me or she was wrong, and the fact that a professional could look at it and immediately surmise that, oh, this is a German-made bass. It was beautiful. I sold it recently because it just again, fitting it in that Honda Civic was an ordeal. The first time I got it fixed.
But when did you find out that
that's where I'm going?
Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, you're good. You're good. I don't forget the points. I just mosey my way to them.
Take care of the listeners, okay?
So I remember I found, like, before I got it professionally set up by Will Heights, I was messing around with it, and we were all just messing around on the porch. And I was like, guys, every time I pick this thing up, it sounds like there's like dust or like wood chips or something in it. Truly, the same way when you drop a pick in a guitar, you flip it over your head and you just hope to the Lord it's going to fall out. Well, I did that with this upright. I was like, I got to figure out what this is because it had F-holes in it, right?
Yeah.
So I lifted it up. I'm like shaking it. I'm like, this is a terrible idea. And like, wood starts falling out, like dust. And then out of nowhere, little baby dead rat falls on the floor. I was like, that's what it was. So,
You don't tell that at shows? I mean, I feel like that...
It honestly doesn't come up very often.
Yeah. You just got to play in certain neighborhoods where you see rats, It's like, hey, that reminds me of
I got a great story for you.
It's raining rats, hallelujah.
Oh, man, it was...
Oh, my gosh.
No one expected that to fall out of it, I'll be honest, so...
Oh, that's great. Oh, that's great. Well, cool. So you played, bluegrass, obviously the harmonies. Was that like a family thing? Did you guys do that, or just from being in the area?
No, yeah, I had the pleasure of playing with Glen Campbell's daughter for a while. Not sure, it was wild. She's the reason I bought an upright was because I got to perform with her a lot, and got to play CMA Fest. She's so on that level that, when she goes to California, she's got people out there that play for her when she goes to New York. And anytime she was on this side of Tennessee, I was a bass player that she would call. Mm-hmm. And the only bad thing about that is, I had a couple of friends that she would call us up anytime we performed, and she was on this side of Tennessee. And we played at, Station Inn, CMA Fest, that kind of stuff. But anytime she went and played at the Grand Ole Opry, they don't allow you to bring a bass player because they have a bass player and a drummer. So the dobro player for that outfit, he used to be like, oh, I'm getting to go play the Grand Ole Opry. And I was like, yeah, I know. And I didn't get to go because I was a bass player. But that, and then I played for a long time, and they're still active, a group called Guy Marshall that's around here. And that's husband and wife outfit, Adam and Serena McNulty. Honestly, he's one of the reasons I probably got confident enough to start writing and singing songs again. I've been performing with him for 6 or 7 years now. I'd
Wow.
say. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Met him at the pub one night, said, "You guys need a guitar player?" And he said, "No, I need a bass player." And that's how I started playing bass.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. No, it's like that. What's that? Someone just recently retold me that dumb bass player joke, about like the 3 lessons. You know this one? Oh, yeah. Wait, you told me that one? Yeah. Yeah. Folks at home.
I don't know what joke you're talking about.
I'm not. Do you want to do it? Do you want the honors?
I was going to say, wait a minute. Does Chris just sit in the back and like imply that he's here and eat pizza the whole time, or does he actually talk?
Pretty much. That's what I do, yeah, for the show. So somebody told me this joke the other day. So like my friend's taking bass lessons, and so I was like, "So hey, what'd you learn in your first bass lesson?" He said, "Oh, I learned how to play E 4 times." I said, "Okay, well, what'd you learn in your second bass lesson?" He said, "I learned to play A 4 times." I said, "Okay, cool. What are you going to learn in your third bass lesson?" He says, "Oh, I don't know. I can't make it. I got a gig."
That's really good.
Especially relevant with the roots
Well,
community around here,
I will say getting out of the first position on an upright bass is like the hard thing, getting away from the open notes. And I will say when I was trying to learn how to play upright, because it's so different than playing, the electric one, any song that I could force them to where I just played open notes the entire time, I would do it. So almost the exact same joke. Like that's a reality. And I had folks, Matt Nelson. He's a jazz player around here. I haven't heard from him in a while, honestly, but
He's an electric player, right?
He does both. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And he puts like pencils in his strings and all kinds of cool, unique stuff. But he gave me some upright lessons. And honestly, I truly, I self-taught guitar and all that other stuff, but upright was one of those things where if you don't get the art and like the structure of it, it's going to be a train wreck if you try to learn how to play it. So, I think that's one of the great things about guitar. I mean, or any music, right? The struggles that we all have to force ourselves to go through to be able to play it accurately generally forms our style more than anything that we wish formed our style. So I always find uniqueness in that. But again, the upright is just it's such an institutionalized kind of thing. And you got to get that elbow up there or the intonation's all out. So,
Man, yeah. Giving lessons out there, folks, if you're tuning in, you're looking to learn the upright.
Tuning in. That's good.
Oh my God. I didn't even realize that. Oh man.
You giving lessons? You trying to push some lessons? I've never given lessons.
Oh really? Dude.
I can't do it.
Funny enough, School of Rock, Knoxville. This is I did not teach. I was in New York for 7 years. I hated teaching. I ended up like leading the music program at a summer camp and songwriting program, a songwriting recording, and that sort of like planted the seed. And when I got here, it was just like I've been teaching at School of Rock, and it's one of those things. I like literally had to get into my 30s before I was like, oh, I can actually do this.
Oh wow, yeah.
But that's the thing. Like sort of like you were just talking about, I was really hung up on the ways I learned things by myself, and I had to sort of like reach a certain point before I was like, oh, it's okay if I don't do, I don't have to be a jazz master to like be able to like teach a kid how to play 3 chords.
Sure, and you hope. I would think if you were a teacher, you would hope at the end of the day, to be a good teacher at least, that you didn't make another one of you. You know?
Yeah.
Because if you did, you're like, oh, I probably pushed too hard on some things, and now he thinks he has to do it, or she has to do it that way. And I would think it's it's giving them the tools to make their own, creation. Yeah. And I barely have the patience for myself, much less someone else. So that's why I can't teach people.
So tell me this. This brings up some stuff. Like, okay, so the musician that you were getting out of college versus the musician now, how do you find that your perspective has changed? I mean, maybe you weren't writing then because you said that writing sort of a more recent thing, but like, what are some of the perspective changes that you've been through?
So, when I moved to MTSU, when I think about those days, I was playing just solely electric guitar. Both of us probably have a running list of all the bands we've been in, right? I was in a group called O Youth, and that's the band that we moved out to Murfreesboro together, and we moved out there, and it was a band house, right? Always 2 drum sets set up in the living room. There was some rice everywhere where some shakers had broken, and it was folk music. I mean, the big influence on that group was folks like Conor Oberst, My Morning Jacket, that kind of vibe. And so I pretty much only played electric guitar when I was younger. And wrote some songs, but kept them in my back pocket. Never really played them out for anybody. Had a high school band, but it was exactly that, a high school band. It's nothing I'm, I get nostalgic about it when I have a safe at home. I keep things that I hold dear to me in there, and one thing is a video that someone had filmed my high school band at our high school's cafeteria performing. And geez, that guy on stage, different guy than who is here today. You know what I'm saying? But it's great because, I see my friends in the audience. And again, I stuck around my hometown. So, I still see those people. And I don't get bummed out by that. I love seeing where, roots grow to, not just where they started. And so it's always great to, again, be more grounded where you came from. And that guy, I was trying to write songs. I was, wanting to be a rock and roller. I had long hair. I wore paisley shirts. And now you could definitely say the hair's a little taller and goes the opposite direction. And I'm definitely more organized and clean about everything. But we made a lot of sounds, and going through those processes with other bands, showed me ways not to do it and ways to do it. Mm-hmm. So when it finally got to, hey, I feel confident enough to make something myself, I kind of already had a process in mind that I wanted to follow, so I didn't have to second guess myself because I'd seen other people do this venture or do that, and that worked, but that didn't. And luckily, I've had the pleasure of performing with some serious, Knoxville folks that created music that I still think holds up. I missed the Pilot Light. That's something you probably don't know anything about.
I've heard more than tell of it.
Yeah, so for the longest time, I played bass for a group called Sweet Years, and the Pilot Light was like our home. We shot videos there. We pretty much played there every 3 months, and we would sell it out. People couldn't even get in, and those to this day are some of my favorite nights I've ever had too. But again, we're talking about two different folks. Like, I do believe in being not really not yourself, but a version of yourself for whatever calls for that occasion. So, playing bass for a punk band isn't the same character I use to tell you songs about where I grew up, or stories. Mm-hmm. So success for me is almost categorized in those different ventures as well, because they're different headspaces, Wow. Like, I mean it. Like, one of my favorite things I've ever done is we teamed up with the So Far Sounds. Have you ever heard of it?
Yeah. So, you had a video in Atlanta, right?
Yeah. We and of course they were really active for a while. There were like branches popping up everywhere. We've played in Brooklyn because of So Far, and we played in New York a couple of times because of them. And I think turning here a little sad note here, but 2019, Travis Bigwood and the Lonesome Doves played, I think it was like 70 something shows, which is pretty good for all folks who were working full-time jobs and playing with other folks as well. We went all the way from Houston to all the way to Ringwood, New Jersey. Huh. And then 2020, COVID, I think we played 3 shows that year, and we're finally seeing shows come back, and yeah. So it's interesting. I mean, I've never seen it as a money thing, because I knew if I did, I would just get disappointed. And luckily I don't have to, not because someone's siphoning money or anything to me. It's just, I'm lucky that I do have a stable job situation and everything else. So it gives me the freedom that when it is music time, I get to solely focus on it.
Yeah. Do you mind if I ask what that is?
No, I've been a financial advisor for like 5 or 6 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And I mean, I used to kind of be ashamed of it, just because I like to separate those things. Like I said, almost like the, alternate or like identity kind of thing, and would keep them separate. But without the other, without Clark Kent, there'd be no Superman, vice versa kind of thing. I mean, if it wasn't for that job, I wouldn't have the means to buy the cameras to, shoot our videos. I wouldn't have the means to buy the microphones or the software or anything else. And I'm thankful because too, when everybody knows that when you go out on these weekend runs, you're happy.
You lose money.
Exactly.
You're hemorrhaging.
Yeah. And I know how it is to be out there on the weekends with folks and, playing bass, and you get back and you're like, oh yeah, I made $300 this weekend. And then you start thinking about how many hours you actually put into the weekend, and you're like, man, that wasn't good. So I try to take care of the folks that play for me, and anytime people get involved in our videos and everything else. So
that's great.
Yeah.
I love that. We need more of you. out there.
We need more of you.
Oh, thank you.
No one.
We need more Chris too.
No one would know of me if it wasn't for you guys. You know.
We did it. We're putting you on the map. Oh shoot! And there was a tangent that I wanted to go off based on that. Weekend runs. How do you you guys all shack up in a van? Like,
well, again, we travel as a folk trio.
Right.
So you get to
two guitars and
two acoustic guitars, 3 people, 1 Honda Civic.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And it always worked. I mean, and honestly, that's one of the ways we always were able to almost break even. You know.
Yeah.
Just because we had that luxury. I mean, you add one drum set to the mix, it's the Honda's out. You know.
Yeah. Well, I had that. I was actually how I found Knoxville was that I toured in a Brothers Harmony duo, and we played Blue Plate like a ton. This was our stop on our way to Chattanooga, and Chattanooga.
Yeah, you really you chatted out, don't you?
No, but we would stop here on our way to Chattanooga, and because we for whatever reason we would just get so much work down there. But like Pontiac vibe, you know, 2 guys, 2 guitars. We got to the point, man. Like I think on our last, we ended up going out for like long runs, but like we got to the point where I like literally only had a backpack. We were out for like 4 months. You know, and granted, I smelled horrible.
Yeah.
You know, it was miserable. But, dude, there's something to be said for just like the economy of, you know, keeping it light.
Oh, yeah.
And would you guys bring in for a lot of these shows? Were you bring in your own sound, or were you?
No, we would always get lucky, and anytime we would venture out, it would always be, you know, hey, we're going out to do the folk thing. We're not gonna go play at some barbecue joint and get put in the corner. Mm-hmm. And if it's not that, then we're not going because there's no point in doing it.
So like house concert circuit?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And that's what I'm saying. So far, was it such a useful tool for us? I mean, because it's like, oh, we got a friend in DC. We're gonna play an apartment party, and then you know the next day we're playing like some pie shop with So Far, you know, before the next gig. Mm-hmm. You know, those shows are so great, and I actually helped open the Knoxville branch of So Far.
Oh wow, cool.
And unfortunately, of course, when COVID happened, and we had shows at Central Cinema. We did a show there. We did a show at St. John's Cathedral, and really had a good time with it. And so that also, you know, was one of the reasons I had gotten involved with them, and then just tried to bring that here to Knoxville too. And a lot of good folks hopefully got something out of that. I know, you know, Kelsey Walker played one, and all kinds of folks were involved in that. You know, we had. I want to say Guy Marshall did one. I ran sound at all of them because, you know, it's such a grassroots thing,
right.
Especially at the beginning when we had just got it started. But again, you know, I've been around here so long that, you know, I got to go see acts at the bigger places like the Bijou and everything. I guess you hadn't even seen shows at the Bijou.
Isn't that crazy?
You don't even know what this town is.
I know. Well, what's funny is I know we've been coming here since 2017.
Yeah.
And so it's like, and my landlord now was actually we played Blue Plate, packing our guitars up in the car, and she like pulls into the parking lot and she's like, "Hey, you guys sounded great. If y'all need a place to stay, like I have this extra house in South Knoxville." And like years later, this is where my girlfriend and I live.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing!
Right?
That's the power of music right there.
But it also says something about this community and sort of the way this place operates.
Oh, yeah, especially the WDVX crowd is a good one. You know, Blue Plate has always been real kind to us for sure. And Chris, I don't know if you've heard about this, but the whole Tennessee Songwriters Week. So I think 2019 was the first year. Adeem, they won the one last year, and they got to go perform at. Well, he's supposed to go perform at Bluebird.
Yeah.
And then all the COVID stuff happened. I think the concert ended up being virtual. But in 2019, the state of Tennessee, the tourism department said, "Hey, we're acknowledging that music brings in a big amount of the tourism to Tennessee." And they did a statewide Songwriters Week. And I can't remember exactly what the date of the week is, but they had all these like pop-up songwriter ventures, and it was a contest, essentially is what it was. And they had one in Knoxville, one in Memphis, one in Johnson City, and then whoever won the evening got to represent that town at the Bluebird Cafe. Cool. And so we got to do that in 2019 when we got to go to the Bluebird Cafe. Bill Lee was there. And I said, I didn't vote for you, but I'm glad you're here. That's what I told him. And I think he left in the middle of my set. But, that's not the point. So,
But that's that songwriter honesty that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
It's like keeping it real,
Hey, you got to tell them like it is.
Yeah, exactly.
But just,
But if you were a punk rock bass player, by the way, you could have really...
I wouldn't have said a word, but in my head, I would have been totally screwing that guy. But it's just what you're saying. Like, I think Tennessee as a whole recognizes that, we wouldn't be here without the music stuff. And of course, it's always going to take the top folks on government to get behind us. But like WDVX, that kind of stuff that we have, it's such a powerful tool. I mean, that radio station started out of a camper, right? And here we are hanging out in the garage. Before you know it, you'll have your own festival somewhere.
No, we can't say where this is.
Oh my goodness, we're nowhere.
We don't exist.
Yeah, but Domino's can deliver here, so it's really confusing. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, no. There's a lot of like, and that's what's cool about down here is like there's just a lot of sincere love for the craft and the life. And
where have you played in the last 8 months? Have you played anywhere?
Well, funny enough, Chris got me, I did play at Prez Pub.
Oh, yeah?
A short set.
You meet Scott West?
I did not meet Scott.
That's a local celeb right there.
I've heard.
He's trying to get open carry on that Market Square right now. I love it.
Yeah.
Let me say, I love his enthusiasm for it. I haven't formed an opinion on how I feel about the issue as itself, but Scott West, good guy. Love that guy.
Love that. I love that.
Scott and Bernadette.
Yeah, so there. And where was Union Place? I played a real. So I basically haven't played.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So I'm in the process of getting myself back together. But it's worth announcing that by the time this is aired, I will have played at IMS at a
Jam Fest, guys. Get your tickets.
No. Jam Fest will be after this is aired. So folks,
excellent.
Jam Fest, June 26th. I think tomorrow, if you're listening to this. Is happening at IMS, but also a benefit concert has happened at IMS that I had played on May 30th.
When this happened.
Yeah. Man, I'm so confused now. I don't know.
Where are we
how
in
do we
time?
Okay, cool.
Well, I want to say, I don't know how you landed this. You're involved in this. I'm looking at Chris, curator of Real Knoxville.
Is Mark playing bass? Who's playing bass with him?
I don't remember.
Or Alex Spiegelman?
I don't know. I just love that lady that's with him who plays, the clarinet and stuff.
Oh, cool.
She's so good. She's so good. That's my Invisalign, folks. Get over it. Pokey Lafarge. They played the Meadowlark Music Festival. I think it was 2017, I want to say.
Yeah, so I'm running sound for the Jam Fest.
Heck yeah. Is it going to be in that little? Yeah.
We're doing a benefit concert there on the 30th.
One of my favorite things I've ever seen. Are you done talking to me?
Oh, are we like off the air?
No.
On that, I just saw it go red. I was like, "What does that mean?"
I accidentally stopped. That's why I made him. I said that question again because it cut off for like 10 seconds.
Oh,
Okay,
cool. But we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, so one of the coolest things I've ever seen is we have the Knoxville Symphony Orchestra.
Yeah.
And the Knoxville Symphony Orchestra used to do performances in IMS, and I think they did this like 3 years in a row. They would get a local singer-songwriter and do arrangements behind their songs. And they'd have that singer-songwriter come
that's
up.
so cool.
Yeah, they did it. My friend Zoe Nutt did it. And she's since then moved to Nashville. She's out of Nashville now. But yeah, like what an experience would that be for you?
Yeah.
That's absolutely amazing. It's fun when you have 3 people on the same page. Imagine 30.
Yeah.
And that's tying it back into Elvis. You can say whatever you want about the 70s days, but
Great arrangements.
Oh, the bands,
strings,
it's all there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the money, like they're. What was so cool about like especially like late 60s, early 70s, they were just trying shit. They were just like it's like the early days of the record industry was like, I hope this sells, and they would just dump money into it. And yes, the artist did a ton of drugs, but like, on the flip side was that it was like some really great art came out of that you just can't,
Oh, I completely agree. I mean, and again, always just trying to find out more about, for me, the things that you're interested in. It's always been Tennessee and the people who've walked this land before us. But I'm currently reading a book on the Prisonaires. Have you ever heard of the Prisonaires?
No.
So the Prisonaires are a band. They were a quintet, and they recorded their hit song in 1953. It's called Just Walking in the Rain. It was recorded at Sun Studios before Elvis recorded all his stuff. And of course, Johnny and Roy and all those people followed. But it was this group of prisoners who were singing in the state prison just outside of Nashville. And again, it just coincided. Part of music, part of being successful in music is having a community behind you. I don't think anyone will ever be famous without, a community behind them. But besides that, there's always that luck factor. And these folks, 5, imprisoned black men, started a singing group in this prison. And it just so happened that the governor of Tennessee at the time, his name was Bob Clement, really was pushing prison reform. So he heard this group and started bringing them to the governor's mansion and stuff in Nashville and performing all over. And they recorded a song, and it was famous. I haven't finished the story, but I know that a lot of them get pardoned and stuff because of the songs. And it comes, a lot of them are wrongly accused of crimes.
Yeah.
But the main guy, imprisoned at 14, and was singing in that group for 10 years just at the prison. And, again, the power of music, but also the power of just time in general. And also, I think it's really interesting to read that story just to hear that even in that time, here was a guy who was a leadership role of ours, the Bob Clement, and who would, he never made them come in through the back door or anything, even at the mansion. He was like, no, you guys are our performers tonight. Come through the front door. And of course that's such a petty, thing to, scope of what really happened to the black community during that time. But, to know somebody was like, no, I'm trying to make this normal that you guys are performing, again, I love reading that kind of stuff and even hearing stories about Elvis touring, old highways, and they'd have an upright strap to the, top of their car, just driving across the Southeast. It's, performing at churches and school auditoriums like that. I'd always wanted to do that. Just, get a little band and tour just the smallest places in towns. Cause we still have some of those theaters. In Crossville, there's, we have, I think it's the Capitol Theater out there. That's what it's called. Maybe. I can't think right now. But, seats maybe 150 people, Yeah. That's perfect. Let's do it.
Yeah. Well, and that's, it's funny. I remember I was pretty young when I came to this conclusion. I stand by it for some reason. Not for some reason. It's good. It's a good reason. I never want to be famous, but I want to be able to get 100 people anywhere I play to listen to my music.
Yeah.
And that to me is just that would be
success.
Amazing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just fill a small room anywhere you go of people that just care.
Yeah.
And, that's a life.
To me, the moment that always messes with me is, when I'm playing a song and I see somebody who, they always look kind of familiar, but that I don't personally know, and they're mouthing one of the words.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my goodness. That just gets me,
Yeah.
Because to me, it's, hey, the melody is clicking with him, but also, hey, he's listening to the words, because that's the important thing for me. And just those small connections, they amount to something more. And
well, they're real. That's the thing. It's you know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's that, and you don't. Not to say that it wouldn't be awesome to hear a stadium of people singing my song, but the fact that it's I can this guy. This means something to this guy.
Yeah, even playing bass for someone, where I'm not even singing the words and I see somebody singing along, I'm like, this room is with us.
Yeah,
this room is with us right now.
And that's what it's about. That's healing, man.
Oh.
That is this other level thing that I think we all seek in music. And a lot of people don't know how to articulate it. I don't know how to articulate it, but I just know that's it. That's the right thing.
And like I said, I'd love to make a perfect recording, but it's never going to match anything that we've ever created live, even at those gigs where I know no one cares, where we are, because we've all had the gigs where it's, 2.5 hours and you're just like, oh, did they really want a band here or what? We actually just did, UT's going to come after me. You know who Bill Dance is. Chris, do you know who that is? Oh, see, I didn't know either. Apparently this huge fishing guy. Okay, he had like a big show in the 90s, and UT was giving him an honorary doctorate degree.
Yeah.
And apparently Luke Bryan released a song called Bill Dance like 3 weeks ago. And this venue was like freaking out. They're like, Luke Bryan might be here. We need music. And so like they reached out to us, and we were like an ornament on a Christmas tree. It's like, that looks nice. And then off to the next thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was just like, screw you guys. It's just, they just wanted a Tennessee experience for him. And I'm glad that I can fall into that category, but also it's like, that's not the artist I've ever wanted to be,
Right.
Yeah.
Totally.
So we just played guitar solos all night. Yeah.
There's fun in that. I mean, it's like, I mean, yeah. Wait, okay. I want that.
I talk a lot, sir, so you gotta
No,
watch out.
it's good. It's good. I like this. The volley is fun.
I think that's called a rally, actually, but
is it? I don't know. I don't know.
Wait, Chris, can you look that up? The back and forth in tennis, right?
It's a volley.
Wait,
no.
no.
I think about volleyball is what I was thinking.
Wait, Chris, don't just throw your opinion out there without looking it up. Look it up. What's the difference between a volley and a rally?
Yeah.
Because people need to know. And text your answers to... No, that's Cord's joke.
Yeah.
Sorry, Cord. Love you.
Related to that.
I'm sorry, man.
No.
Any train that you're trying to drive, I'm just like...
I don't know at this point. Okay.
I was asking you where you played. You said you play Union Place. And one of the... we got some facts. Hit us with the facts.
Ooh. A tennis rally occurs when players hit the ball multiple times, usually after it bounces, while a volley is a ball
is when you don't let it bounce
out of the air before it lands.
Okay, yeah. So in tennis, right, you have the rule where it can bounce once and then you can hit it back, but
right.
You can intercept it before it does that bounce. So that is a volley if you don't let it touch the ground before you hit it back. But a rally is just going back and forth normal.
That's just no. Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
So I guess both of them work. I guess we're both correct.
Dude, I'm gonna cede, right? I'm gonna cede to you because I clearly in this that seems to make more sense. But what's funny though is like I don't even think about it. I just always heard of volley and I think of it being like volleyball.
Well, see, I hear volley and I think of guns, like a volley of guns.
A volley of guns.
Look it up.
You can have that back. Man, we're almost out of time here.
Oh my gosh, are we really?
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So talk to me. Where do we send the people that
we're
find your music?
Yeah, so we're playing shows, and of course we're trying to be as socially conscious about it as possible. It's already hard enough, but we played Dogwood Arts Festival. We're kind of doing a little monthly show at the Social Dove, and this is going to get confusing. It is the patio behind the Lonesome Dove. And we are called Travis Bigwood and the Lonesome Doves. I know.
I know. I saw that poster. That's one of the places I saw you. As I saw that poster, and I was like,
"This is
wait
confusing."
a second."
Yeah. So yeah, in the old city, it's awesome. It's free to get in. Of course, there's a bar and stuff out there, and there's tables that are socially distanced and some couches, and I think they light like little fires in between the couches and such. But just doing it as a 3-piece, and they got a really nice sound system down there. The only bad thing about it, sometimes that train rolls through, and I just stop. I'm just like the train won, So, but it's awesome to just get back out there again, So, before you know it, we'll be going to Blue Plates every day at noon.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Blue Plate.
Obviously, I do too.
Yeah.
It brought me here.
Yeah.
Your music, how do we find it online?
Oh, you just search Travis Bigwood. There's not a lot of us, so just be careful. Never know what you're going to find on them Google searches.
Mostly true? Mostly about you? Mostly good stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
I just mean put Travis before the last name, just...
Oh, got it. Okay, all right. And
I got you, man. I'm here.
You got me. Okay. Well, you know what? We're going to wrap this up. I'm just going to say another thank you to Travis. This has been delightful, to say the least.
I'd do it again. That's how much I enjoyed it.
Fortunately, that's not the way the show works, but we'll hang out without microphones, I assure you. And, this is Meet Music Knoxville. I'm your host, Nick Horner. And join us next month. I have no clue who will be on the show by that point, but it's going to be great. It's going to be a tough act to follow, Travis here, but we're going to do our damnedest. and it's going to be a great time regardless. So thank you all. Have a great night.
Shouting for my more. He's yelling, come and see what I just saw. Oh, won't you come and see what I just saw? And these letters I write, I hope they say enough to defend myself from what I've done. And it's hard to leave, but I know I gotta go. Yes, it's been a good year and the crops they've grown. Yes, it's been a good year and the crops they grow. And it's something that's always on my mind. Oh, if I'm doing it right this time. And each morning I wake a little more confused, always finding better ways to do the things I do. Find